Hi, everybody. I'm Scott.
I'm sorry. I'm John.
We are the Sweet Tea... Oh, we're married.
We're married. I'm sorry. We did a little prep look before we started, and I looked deep into my husband's eyes. I'm sorry.
We are the SweetTeaNoShade knitting podcast. It's not that funny.
It is.
It's not that funny.
It's
Okay, so we are dressed like this.
News blooper.
Yes, news blooper. We are dressed like this because it is our friend Nate's 40th birthday.
Or son of Sherry.
Son of Sherry, who I believe watches this from time to time.
Right.
Son of Sherry and Terry. And she watches she watches our podcast, and we are going on a party bus, and he was born in 1984, and so we're supposed to be dressed like the 80s. Mine's leaning a little 70s, I will admit.
Yeah, but the sparkle makes it
But
80s.
the sparkle makes it 80s, and there's also what you can't see, and actually I don't have on, are some leggings that go with this.
Yes.
That kind of lean 80s.
Yes.
And a rhinestoned belt.
Which just leans tacky.
Which leans 80s. So it's, it doesn't matter. It's a fun outfit.
It's a fun outfit.
Of course, John is very...
I've got my
80s.
ski jacket. I think it's a ladies' ski jacket.
Ladies.
Ladies. I'm Mondale Ferraro t-shirt, which is... The theme is 1984 because that's the year he was born in. So
Yes.
this is an 84 as you can get.
Yep.
And then I got some Zubas. Zumbas?
Zumbas. Roomba is the vacuum cleaner. Zumba, isn't that the aerobic class? Zumba?
Zumba?
And then
Zubas are
the
what
pants.
Joey Buttafuoco wore.
Yes.
Okay.
Joey Buttafuoco.
So yeah, that is
So
why
I'm not sure how long these glasses are going to last.
Um,
Because they are a little irritating, but we'll
They're
do our
awfully
best.
sparkly.
And I can't see anything because they're just plastic
Right.
lenses, so I'm going to have to put these on
Yeah.
to be able to see anything.
I feel like you look like
Elton
someone.
John.
No, someone who had a cable access show in like Palm Springs in 1984, and it was called like Gary's Glitzerama.
John and Scott's Yarn Podcast.
Oh my god! Back before knitting got mainstream.
Yeah, yes. And what are you drinking?
I am having a cider, Angry Orchard.
And I'm having a energy drink.
Lovely.
Because I'm feeling a little low energy. So
So
you're drinking a downer, I'm drinking an upper.
awesome. Well, energies are just gonna go like and go perfect.
So I was watching some of our previous episodes.
Okay.
I think we should dive right into knitting because I was like, good lord, we talk a lot at the beginning, and I would like to dive right in.
And we can weave in the anecdotes.
Exactly.
So, but we are a knitting podcast. I don't think we mentioned that.
We did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a couple times.
Okay.
Also, it's been several months since our last episode, but that's how we roll. We get on the bandwagon and do it for a while, and then I was sick all summer.
And I think also summer is not knitting weather.
Oh, don't say that to Betty Ann.
I know.
She gets irritated.
I know, but look, we're gonna leave it there. Betty Ann, when we aren't podcasting every 48 hours, she gets grumpy. So
Yes. So, anyway, we're going to dive right into knitting content.
fantastic. I have one finished object, but I don't have it, and it's on Instagram. What are you doing?
I'm just being Gary Glitz. That's my new name now.
Gary Glitz.
Gary Glitz, now that you named me that.
And I'm Toby.
You are Toby. You're the guy on the ski slope that's like, if you French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time.
I'll be Derek, Derick.
Yes.
Derek.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
No, just we need to figure out who goes first. Like, how many finished objects do you have?
So I have one that I'm not gonna talk about because I don't have the yarn for it. It's been given away already.
Okay.
And then I've got 3 works in progress and some acquisitions.
Okay. You have a lot more than I have. So why don't you go first?
Okay. We'll do my first whip, which was something this will be pretty fast because I was working on this last time. So this is the... Get the glasses out.
Don't bang on the table, babe.
Sorry, honey. This is the Gresham Wrap, designed by Michael Vloedman for Blue Sky Fibers. Last time, I had just done the fringe, and now I've done this much. So here's what it looks like so far. And the idea behind it is it's a really, really, really long wrap with these colored stripes, and then a very long middle piece, which is starting right here, and then you repeat the stripes over again. So I think last time I showed this, I would just done a bit of the fringe, and now I have done one repeat of the stripes, and overall I am very, very happy with this. The yarn is all Blue Sky Fibers. I forget what... Woolstock. And yeah, I really... this is going to take... So the directions are you do the fringe, this little area, you do one repeat of the stripes, and then you knit for 58 inches. So this is a little less, so I've got like 57 inches to go on this. And I kind of...
Oh, wait. You have to knit in this color for this width for 58 inches?
Yes.
Oh, good lord.
Well, I think because I'm using large needles, my gauge might be a little bigger. I think it's supposed to be 14 inches.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a lovely wrap. And I really like... I feel like Blue Sky Fibers... I just love... these aren't tonals. Would you call these tonals?
Sure.
They're not they're kind of like straight colors are so beautiful. Solids. And then the designer Michael Vloedman did a slightly different. Each stripe has a different pattern on it, and I really like it. So for a while, I think in the spring I was really going well on this one, and then I got to this part and. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I will just keep knitting on this. This will be a really good winter project, I think. And it may just go to me because I was knitting to my sister, but like, I feel like I like this a lot.
Yeah.
So, that is that.
And will Jennifer wear it? Do you think that'd be
she
something
might.
she would wear?
She might.
I had to switch to my glasses so I could see. It was giving me a headache.
Yeah. Yeah, those aren't quite as Gary Glitz.
No.
So yeah, this is the Gresham Wrap. I bought it as a kit at Darn Knit Anyway. I think we're there with Betty Ann.
I think we might have been. I think you're right about that.
Hi, Betty Ann. So, here you go. Oh, and I think the other thing was funny. So I thought I was doing this modified linen stitch wrong, but I was doing it right.
Yes.
So that's nice.
And so we rewatched our last episode.
Yeah.
To remember what the hell we were talking about.
Because it's been a minute.
How to do a podcast. And you caught that in when we rewatched the last episode. Or you didn't catch it, but in the last episode you said I'm doing this wrong, but that's okay. And then you realized you weren't doing it wrong.
So that's always exciting because I'm like, I was like, I know I'm following directions. What am I doing wrong? And I wasn't. I was actually following directions. So that is that. I feel like this is going to be a multi-generational knit. Like, it may... it might be
What the hell does that mean?
It means it might take years.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's so much. But the nice thing about this linen stitch is, like, once you get going on it, it's pretty mindless. So that's exciting. Yeah. So, all right. So that is the Gresham shawl, Michael Vloedman, in Blue Sky Fibers.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll just talk about what I'm knitting on right now, rather than doing a finished object. So I am knitting a pair of socks, shorty socks, for myself. And it's... Wait, was I going to give these to someone? No, I was going to do these for myself, because I knit a pair for somebody else, and then I knit a pair for myself. And it's a Zauber ball, which I think Zauber in German means crazy.
Oh, and it's got that... Wait, that's the yarn. I thought this was... Never mind.
No, this is the tail, the super long tail.
Okay.
That, did I do a... Oh, yeah. So, there's it's a new to me cast on. And I always forget what it is. I'm going to have to... If I can find it, I will put the information
Is it
on
like the
screen.
modified Italian? Or it's some...
It's some country
Right.
cast on. And it's super stretchy. And it's like a long tail cast on, but you do a bunch of extra stuff.
Oh, it's the ba-dum, ba-dum,
Yeah.
ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Exactly. So it's super stretchy because of that. And this is the Rose City. I've always followed portions of the Rose City roller pattern, such as the heel flap, gusset, heel turn, that stuff. But this is the true, like, everything about this is the pattern, the Rose City roller pattern, because the top, you just knit the top and it rolls down.
Yeah.
So I will put the information about which Zauberball it is on the screen, unless I've stuffed it in there. Because it's like they're numbered or something like that. So, but yeah, so this is what the actual ball looks like. It's, what did you say that's called? Plied? With different colors together and stuff. So it's really awesome. So, yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's the sock that I'm working on right now.
Excellent.
So right now what I'm doing is I've done the part that ends up rolling down. And then I did the heel flap, and then I picked up the gusset stitches and started doing the gusset decreases, and I'm like, ooh, I forgot to do the heel turn. So I unknitted. Luckily I hadn't gone that far.
Yeah.
I'd only done a couple rounds after picking up the gusset stitches, so I basically tinked back and then pulled out all the picked up gusset stitches, which left me back to where the stitches for the heel, I was basically at the bottom of the heel flap. And then I did now I've done the heel turn.
And it's all good.
And I'm now in the process of re-picking up the gusset stitches.
So I wonder what it would have looked like if you just forged on ahead. Like it just would have been a weird...
Well, it would have
bendy
been
tube, right? It would have sort of
It would have been not even a bendy tube. It would just have been a tube with a weird
curve
heel flap in the middle. I think.
Like a little bend, because then when you picked up, you would have been knitting unevenly.
Oh yeah, the gussets. Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's what I'm working on, and I knit all my socks on 9-inch circulars, and Chowgu 9-inch circulars, and then I use when I need to do things like the heel turn, or the heel flap and the heel turn, I use
Knitter's
these are
Pride.
Knit Picks.
Oh.
Right? Or are they Knitter's Pride?
I think they're Knit Picks.
Knit Picks, DPNs, the short ones, these are, I think it's called like Rainbow Wood
Something like that. They're great.
Yeah.
I use them when I use DPNs too.
So, and then as soon as I'm done with the heel turn, I pick everything back up with the... I'm hesitating because I just realized I didn't put my
stitch marker in,
but that's okay. I can figure out where it should have gone.
Yeah.
So, and then I use stitch markers to indicate where I'm supposed to do my decreases.
So you can just, so you're just going to pick up directly from the...
Yeah, what I do is I stick a... And this is where I wish we had an overhead camera. Now, I mean, everybody knows how to pick up stitches, but...
Sometimes I don't.
John just asked me if I'm picking up the stitches from the gusset right onto the my DPNs, and yes, I am. So what I do is I stick my needle, my DPN, into the next stitch. Sorry, I'm covering it with my thumb. Into the next stitch that I want to pick up, and then I flip it over. And never done this before where I'm trying to watch myself knit. And then I just knit the stitch. And then pull the needle out.
Yeah, because when I do that, when I'm just picking up stitches like that, I have a hard time sometimes doing the pickup and then also pulling the yarn through. So that's actually really, see, things we learn. That's actually really helpful.
Yeah. Oops. I'm trying to watch my knitting and watch the camera at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, what have you got next?
Cool. I'm going to pull up. So this is my project, the one that sort of took away this from the other one. So my...
Talking about took time away?
Kind of like, I'm not having a this is my new...
This is the project you're cheating
on. Yeah.
Cheating,
exactly.
yeah.
However,
cheating
there's a good cause. So my cousin, Thomas Patrick, and his wife, Courtney, had a baby this summer. Little Callum.
Well, like a month ago. Or 2 months ago, maybe?
2 months ago in July. It was in late July.
Yeah.
And they live in Omaha, and we're going to go visit them next week. So I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll do a baby blanket. So I found this pattern. It was called the Nebula Baby Blanket. And it was a collaboration between Jake Kenyon, who is Ken Yarn, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And Lion Brand Yarns. So it's knit in superwash merino baby soft. And basically, it's a blanket. Wait, babe. Let me sort of stretch it open. But basically, the way it works is kind of...
Be careful with the microphone.
It's a big... I think of it as it's going to be a big pot holder, essentially. So you knit a square. You have this... oh, God. What do you call this?
I-cord.
I-cord bind off on each side. And then you add stitches to each end every other row. So it sort of ends up doing this big... square shape. So I'm probably about halfway done with the increases at this point. And I was going to try to finish it up for next week. And then I decided that's not going to happen. So it's going to be a Christmas present. So...
and I'll probably make like a teddy bear or something then.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this is it was ordered... The kit came directly. I think you bought it from Lion Brand. I bought it from Lion Brand. And the two yarns are... I don't know if this is a color or not.
Do you need some help, babe?
I don't think it has a color. What? Superwash merino baby
it's black.
soft. Yeah, black.
The color is Night Sky.
Night Sky. Lovely. And then the other color is A Star is Born.
Really?
Yeah. I think.
Wait.
Right?
Oh, pastel print must be the...
Yeah.
Where did you see the color?
Wouldn't that be it? A Star is Born?
No, I think that's the line.
Oh. Suggested.
I think pastel print might be the color.
Oh. Night Sky and pastel print is the color.
Okay.
So, anywho, so I really like, it's like funny, I would have not put these two colors together.
Yeah.
But I've always liked Ken, I think his name's Ken. Jake Kenyon, sorry. I've always liked his, he's a dyer too, and I've always liked his...
So it's Venus and the Crab, but it used to be Ken Yarn.
Oh, okay.
Formerly hashtag is that Ken Yarn.
Okay.
KenYarn.com, closed 2024.
Okay. All right, so I wasn't mixing up people.
It looks like he has a podcast.
Yeah, I think he does. So the way it works is, I really like this pattern. What I like about it is it's got this ribbing almost. So you do alternating rows of stockinette and garter. And so the garter gives it this ridge in the front, which I'm excited about. I think it looks really cool. And then for a baby blanket, like babies like texture, I think. Oh. So, and I really like how the pastel goes together with this thing. And I like the fact that it's not like bright pink or bright blue. So this is a good popcorn project, TV, cracker, knitting project. I don't know. Cupcake, potato chip.
There you go.
Potato chip project, where I can actually...
TV dinner,
jalapeno poppers project, where you can serve watch TV and do it and not get in too much trouble. So yeah, I really like it, and hopefully it'll be done by Christmas for a Christmas present. I think so. I've done. If I
you'll have it done by Christmas.
If I'm disciplined and I do like a couple of rows a day, or a couple of, it's a 4.
And I'm sorry, how much further do you have before you go down to the decreases?
So I'm about halfway.
Halfway to where you start the decreases.
Yes.
So you're a quarter of the way through the blank.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, and it's just one of those, like, it's as long as I stay disciplined about doing, several of the repeats of the pattern a day, I'll be totally fine.
Cool. I just ended up picking up all my stitches while you were showing that thing. So
Hooray!
I am all done with picking up my stitches. Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to show more socks. The last time I was working on these, and I think maybe I'd done one.
Mm-hmm.
But these are, again, modified Rose City Roller pattern. Everything's Rose City Roller except for the heel. No, the
cuff.
The cuff and the leg,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not in the Rose City Roller pattern. But obviously I did it with self-striping yarn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the yarn information on the screen because I have no idea what it was, and I don't have the ball band anymore. But I did these for my friend Steve, and I think this was the first time that I've ever used yarn where it. So this was top down. So I knit. And then I got to here, and it appeared to me that it was just going to continue on with brown. And I thought, well, maybe that is so that...
to create this pattern?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to explain is somewhere in the middle of the skein, there's a stretch of white where it's not dyed, so that you know where to cut the yarn.
To start for the next one?
To start for the next sock.
That's super cool.
So that you can have matching. And I've always been like, oh, I don't care about matching socks. But having exactly matching socks that you've hand knit is pretty...
that's awesome.
What's the word? Pretty...
pretty neat.
God, what's the word?
Cool.
Rewarding, I think, is maybe the word I was looking for.
Gratifying?
Gratifying. Gratifying?
Sure. Satisfying?
Hansel? Satisfying. Okay. So, yeah, so I'm happy with those. I just got I think I accidentally machine washed them both. So I'm going to...
they look fine.
I don't know if I'm going to wet them or what I'm going to do exactly, but I want to block them because...
they'll look better when you give them.
Giving people blocked socks makes them look really cool. So, that's my one finished object for today.
Okay.
So you now go next.
Yeah. Sorry. So this will be nice because it's a finished object, a work in progress. Acquisition will lead to your next work in progress.
That sounds good.
All right. So, last spring, sometime between our last podcast and this podcast, I went to visit my mother who lives in Colorado, and Scott had discovered this TikToker, and he found a pattern.
And I actually showed the TikTok in a previous episode.
Yeah. And found out that the pattern designer for that pattern has a yarn store in Littleton, Colorado, which is where my mother actually lives, although it's kind of on the other side of Littleton. So I got to go to it. It was called Elevation Yarns, and I got some yarn. And Joey, who designed that pattern Scott's working on, which you will see in a moment,
yes,
had a store in Littleton. I'm better. We had a moment of interruption, so we'll edit this all in through TV magic. And I went to go visit it.
You don't have to say that we're editing because they won't know what the hell you're talking about because it won't look edited.
Okay. So I went to the store, and it's a really lovely store. And and picked up some yarn that Joey had dyed. And being a good yarn dyer and knowing what the gays want, he names all of his, bases all of his, not colorways, what is it?
Bases.
Bases on musical theater. So, for example, this base is Chicago, and the colorway is On the Steps of the Palace. This is his DK, which is called Evita, and this one's called Alone in the Woods and Arabian Nights. I know this reference, I don't know that one. This is Gypsy, which is his fingering weight, and this is called Gypsy Rose Lee. And there's a special set of fingering weight minis called Mrs. Lovett Fingering, and it's for a kit, the Chill Cat Cowl Kit. But I just like these colors together a lot. So the other fun thing is that this band has wildflower seeds in it. And so the idea is when you're done with it, you throw the band into your garden and you get Colorado wildflowers.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
I remember you telling me that now. I'd forgotten that. That's really cool.
So that's great. And it was also funny because when I visited the store, he wasn't there, but the other maker, Diane, was there, and she and I went to school at Rice about the same time. So we spent like 20 minutes trying to identify people we knew in common. But that was really great. Unfortunately, since I visited Elevation Yarn, it was a lovely little store, they have since closed, which is a total bummer because I really like their store. I think they're both still making stuff, but the store, I think, they did it for like 3 years or so. So I remember one of my old bosses owned a yarn store once, and she said it was the best and the most difficult thing she's done in her life. Yeah. So anyway, it was a lovely store.
We're very glad that people do it. But I can imagine how difficult I can't imagine how difficult it must be.
So yeah, bummer about that. And then I got one more thing there. It's just, I think I got this here. I'd integrated all this into our stash. So I'm not sure that I got this here, but this is just a zebra effect wool. It's knit faced in Colorado. So I'm guessing it is there. And it is called Zebra Effect. So that looks pretty cool too. Anyway,
I'm just looking to see if I can find information about them closing or not.
Yeah, it was on their Instagram.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
So, and then I have not, so one of the things I had this, another skein that I bought there, was called Rent. The base was Rent, and the colorway is called Mimi, and I really liked it. It looks like this, and I'm making a hat out of it. So this is what it looks like so far. I really like the stitch definition. It's really pretty. And my plan for this one is I've got about 5.5 inches of brim so far, and when I get to 6, I will fold it over, and so I get this nice little snug, warm, cuddly thing to cover your ears. And then what I'm going to do is once I get to the body, is I'm going to do a technique or a pattern. A couple of years ago, I did a cowl called, Let the River Take You. I can't remember what it was, but it was based on this designer, and the idea is you start out with this sort of 2x2 rib, and then you just sort of cable when you want to. And so I really liked how that turned out for a cowl, and I'm just curious to see how it will turn out for a hat. So yeah, and I love how this is knitting up. I think it's just beautiful. So yeah, again, really sad about the yarn store closing. It was really, really nice and really cute. But as you can tell, I went in there and kind of lost my mind with that yarn that he was dyeing, because I really, really liked it. And then it was all show tunes, so like know your audience, I guess. So yeah. And here's kind of this is a swatch I knit up. That's not so interesting. All right. And those are my works in progress.
Very cool.
Yeah.
My next thing... Oh, yeah, and that leads into where we originally found out about them. Joey it was one of the owners of that store, and his husband was wearing a pattern that he had done called the Sugar Glider cardigan. And I've shown this before in previous episodes. Okay, let me organize my thoughts before I start blabbing. And so his husband had done a TikTok, and my friend Jenny was like, "Oh my God, knit that for me." And like I've said before, I love it when people like get excited about something and ask me to do it, because then it's like I know they want it,
right?
Other than, rather than me being just like randomly knitting for something for someone hoping they like it. So I found the pattern online. I think I bought it through the Elevation Yarn website, but I'm not 100% sure of that. And I don't think I got it off Ravelry. And so I am knitting it. And the thing that's cool about it is that it is... So, I don't know.
You're kind of in the middle of a row, so it's kind of hard to show it.
It's hard to show it, but I'll do my best here. So, this is the back of the thing. The green on the bottom is obviously the bottom. This is the back, and this is brioche, and you can see how it's mainly brown with the bright colors in between, but if you flip it over this way, it's the bright colors with the brown in between. And then these parts are wings that go up from the back up to the sleeve. And so then there are going to be sleeves at the top. But if you don't put your arms in the sleeves, it becomes a wrap. So it's just the coolest pattern ever. So I think around the beginning of the summer I stopped knitting on this. So I actually don't know how much more I've got on this since the last time I showed it on the podcast. But we kind of... I kind of, what's the word? I better put these back on if I'm going to talk. I kind of...
Gary Glitz.
Gary Glitz. I made mention of this at the beginning of the podcast, but I was sick all summer. And so I just had these weird viruses that I guess people can just get weird viruses, and then you wait for them to go away, and they go away. So I wasn't knitting a lot because I was feeling sick, and then I'd had surgery, which was just nothing surgery, and blah 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 blah. And then we went to, just when I was getting better, we went to Norway and went on a cruise with your family,
right?
And we went to Ireland, to Dublin for a few days, and it was amazing. We did absolutely no yarn purchasing, because we were so busy, and just we didn't make that a priority. We would in the future, but we just got super busy.
We did buy a really nice Irish sweater for our friend Charles.
That's true.
So
holy cow. We went into, there were a few different Irish like sweater wool stores. And well, I have to take that back, because there was a store that was like a wool store, and they did have some yarn there, but it was just like a handful, not very much.
What we had to concentrate our purchases on was essentially we'll just do a little quick story here. So Harris, who is our lovely dog, who's outside right now, so he's not going to be hearing this. It's okay.
He won't be offended.
So obviously he was not going to go to Norway with us on the cruise. He's a little big to put in a carry-on. So we were boarding him for the first couple of days of the cruise, and then our friend Charles, who we got the sweater for, was going to come and pick him up from daycare, boarding, and then house sit for the rest of the time. So what
house/dog sit.
Yeah. So what had happened was we dropped Harris off at daycare, and everything seemed to be going okay. And then we were getting ready for our flight, or we were in the Uber on the way to the airport.
Correct.
And they're like, "Hey,
your dog is being a diva."
Yeah.
And so they had called me because, they had called me, and they're like, your dog won't go into the area to hang out with the other dogs.
He's wanting to hang in his trailer the whole time.
Because the dog thinks he's a person.
Yeah.
And doesn't like interacting with other dogs.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, because I know that that's been a problem in the past, but they usually can just...
Yeah.
He'll spend
He's got,
some time...
like, his favorite people there.
Yeah, he spends some time in his, as John said, his trailer, his crate or his kennel area.
Yeah.
And... which is he probably has like a master suite or something.
Probably.
But he, spends some time in there, and then they can get him back in with the group. Well, I think the biggest thing was because it was going to be July 4th, and so they were super busy
and
overwhelmed, and so they couldn't get him to cooperate. So eventually they'd never said you have to come get your dog, but they're like, there's not much we can do with him.
Right.
And so we
were in the Toronto airport.
So we were in the Minneapolis airport, and we're like messaging our friends, and we're like, oh my God, this is happening. And then we flew to Montreal.
Oh, Toronto's on the way back.
And then we landed in Montreal, and basically our friends were amazing because they all just kind of rallied and split up shifts taking care of the dog.
Yeah.
And why did we bring this all up?
Because that was... So what we were doing, we had about, like, maybe a dozen people. Because it was really nice. Like, people, like, we'll take this shift walking, we'll come in this day, feed him. And it was really nice. We have really great friends. And we're like, we need to buy stuff for those people because they're being so amazing.
Really nice gifts. We need to buy not just tchotchke magnets for your refrigerator. We need to buy nice gifts for all the people that basically saved us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars because we didn't board Harris, for one thing.
Well, and we didn't have another option.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny because we've taken him to that daycare for... Since we've gotten him mostly.
5 years, 6 years.
And our dog is dramatic.
I don't know where he gets it from.
I don't know. He's dramatic.
Gary Glitz. That's where he gets it from.
He's dramatic and stubborn. And I don't know where, that is not in our family.
There are no traits like that here.
And so but they've always been able to sort of work with him. And this is nothing against that boarding place. They're awesome.
No, yeah. It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. Our dog is rude. And basically our dog got dropped off at daycare, threw a temper tantrum. And then,
not even threw a temper tantrum. He just was indignant.
He was indignant, and he's like, I'm not doing this.
He's like, you can't make me.
Yeah. And as a result, he got picked up early and got taken care of by all his friends.
And got more walks
than he usually gets.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately... Our dog is very smart, and he's just learning that he can manipulate us.
Well, probably at this point, he's probably got 20 people wrapped around his finger.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like somebody else I know, Betty Ann. So anyway, that is where we were spending all of our effort.
Yeah.
That rather than going to yarn stores was going to places where you could buy really nice gifts.
And and the fact in Norway we had 9 people in our party.
Yes. So
and
we went the Norway was amazing. The cruise I did not expect to enjoy the cruise because it was one of those giant cruise ships, and I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
And we did stick to the very most touristy parts of western fjord region of Norway, but it still was amazing.
It was amazing.
But we just didn't have any free time to go off on our own and exploring things. We didn't go to Oslo. It was just
fjords in Bergen.
Yeah, we did.
Went to Bruges.
Went to Bruges on the way back. Yeah, which was awesome.
And then in Dublin, we were just so exhausted from the cruise and family. We just sat around and went to pubs the whole time.
We did, yes. We went to lots of pubs and drank lots of
it's one of those things like
Irish alcohol.
I love my family. Scott loves my family. He wouldn't have done a cruise with 9 of them. But so after dealing with all the logistics of that, we just sort of needed to sit down and relax for a little bit. And then we did that in Dublin.
Yeah. So the last thing For so the one acquisition we got was we did a tour. A mini day cruise on a little boat on, I don't know what the name of the lake was, but it was in Bergen. Olden, that's right, Olden, Norway, and they took us from one side of this lake, Glacier Lake, to another side, and there was a place there to have, like, it was a very cute little building with, like, we got to have Norwegian waffles and with lingonberry and sour cream and blah blah blah, and they had a little gift shop area, and so we got, it's super touristy, I know, but we loved it. So we got this, and then this kind of this which is like the Perfect Notions pouch.
Yep.
That went with it, or not went with it. It's got obviously the same kind of material. So, I'm just looking to see if there's anything funny in here, like made in China. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So it's So this is like the one knitting related, not the towel, but
that's at least fiber content, right?
Yeah, this is the one small thing that we got related to knitting in on our trip.
Although we did get, so for one of our friends who...
Oh, and then we got back from Norway and Ireland, and I promptly got COVID.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yep. So, good times.
Yeah. So I've been sick
cruel
all
summer.
Yes. We're going to call it the summer that didn't exist.
You went viral.
I definitely went viral. You're hilarious.
I am.
Okay, do you have any more whips?
I do not.
Oh, you don't?
I've got...
So how did we end up... That's perfect.
Yeah. I have the stuff... I don't want to talk about it because I haven't started the patterns yet.
Okay.
So.
All right. So next time, I will have made progress. I will have picked back up the Jenny's Sugar Ladder cardigan and have made progress on that. There's a teddy bear that I'm going to finish because I need to give it to some other friends. Their baby is... How old is he? A year and a half?
Which one?
George. Max? Felix.
Yes.
I always say Max. I don't know where I get Max from.
Because there's Maxine.
Oh, that's right.
So we have in our neighborhood, like, I don't know what it was about 2014, 2015, but we have a lot of 1-year-olds.
You mean 2023, 2024?
What did I say?
2013, 2014.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm clearly...
They're 1, they're not 11.
Yeah. I guess I am in denial about what year it is. So, yeah, we have lots of cute babies and 1-year-olds toddling around the block. So...
Yes, so that will probably be what our content is next time. I don't know if we'll have an opportunity to purchase any yarn or anything like that, but that'll be part of it. So this is the part of the podcast where we transition, and we're no longer a knitting podcast, and we are instead a movie review podcast. And so we are in the process of watching the best movie of the year and the worst movie of the year between the years of 1981 and the current year, and best and worst movies are as indicated by winning the Academy Award for Best Picture and the Golden Raspberry Award for the worst picture of that year. And so last time we drew 2014.
Yep.
And we watched Best Picture Birdman and Worst Picture...
Well...
Somebody Stole Christmas or
Saving
something.
Christmas.
Saving Christmas.
That was what we picked, and we started Saving Christmas.
I'm just going to be bold and say that within the first 5 minutes of the movie, we knew it was going to be rough. Right. Because it's a propaganda...
Kirk Cameron production.
Kirk Cameron propaganda film. And within the first 5 minutes, they're like, you can't say Merry Christmas anymore because nobody will let you say. And it's like, okay, I can't handle this.
Yeah. Well, the opening is... We didn't even get to the movie proper. The opening thing is Kirk Cameron doing a little rant about how why isn't Christmas like Christmas used to be? And it wasn't... Like, I will hate watch stuff, but I've got to have some affection for what I'm watching. Yeah. And this just seemed like we're not going to. It would be an aggravation watch.
Yeah.
And so we
We're
decided
like, nope, not going to put any time towards that. And so instead,
we watched. So there were.
You're not. I don't want you. Okay, sorry. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to do the best movie first, and then the worst.
But I'm
going to
tell them what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You pulled your sheet forward, and I thought you were going to start
because I needed to read something. So for some reason, I don't know why, we take notes, and I printed this out at 10-point font, and
which is standard point font.
Which I
that looks more like 8 to me.
I don't know what I was doing, but so we'll be doing a lot of this. I mean, I can see it fine. So we looked. So Saving Christmas won that year, and we were like, okay, well,
the golden raspberries.
And last time we did the same thing. We're we couldn't watch the first movie, it's the My Pillow movie, and I'm like, we're not doing that. So we looked at the other ones that were nominated, and they were Left Behind, The Legend of Hercules, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Transformers: Age of Extinction. And we decided to watch the Hercules movie.
Yes.
So
I, this time, get the best picture. We try to switch that off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to review Birdman.
Mm-hmm.
So let me grab my notes here. So Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
It is the longest title of a movie that has ever won the Best Picture.
Cool.
I found out. I think it's either the first or the only movie that has had parentheses in the title that has won Best Picture.
Okay.
So I reviewed our list of questions, standard questions online. And so I'm going to move things around a little bit.
Okay.
From the order that we have put them in.
Okay.
Because I think it makes a little more sense. So I'm going to start with a brief plot of, not a plot, but a synopsis.
Yeah.
And so it's, the film stars Michael Keaton. And this is from the Wikipedia article. The film stars Michael Keaton as a washed-up Hollywood actor best known for playing a superhero named Birdman, and follows the struggles he faces while trying to make a comeback by writing, directing, and starring in a Broadway adaptation of Raymond Carver's short story, What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. The film's supporting cast includes Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Andrea Riseborough, Amy Ryan, and Emma Stone, and Naomi Watts. One of the things about the movie, there's several things I'm going to talk about when I get to the trivia part, or the funny trivia about this movie, or interesting trivia about this movie, but a couple of the things to mention is that Michael Keaton, played Batman, and this character is playing a character called Birdman, and there's parallels there. It's the entire movie, there's only 16 visible cuts. So it's a lot of many minutes long single takes.
Well, and it's mostly set, almost entirely set in the theater where they're putting the show on, and so you watch people walking to the backstage, going to the dressing room, and the camera just sort of follows everyone all the time, which is, I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah. So when the movie starts, Michael Keaton is levitating in his underwear,
as one does,
sitting cross-legged, and he throughout the movie has I don't know the word for it, but imagines that he has these superpowers that he had when he was Birdman, levitating.
And he has the voice that talks to him, right?
Yeah, so he has an internal voice that is very critical of him, that is the voice of Birdman.
Right.
And so he's trying to make a success of doing this Broadway show and trying to prove that he's a serious actor and he's not a washed-up superhero actor. And he had turned down Birdman 4.
Right.
And never made a Birdman 4 movie, and so the Birdman voice in his head is trying to get him to admit that that's what he should have done, and all of that. And so there's different characters. I mean, it's a smallish cast. There's the people that he's in the four actors that are in the play, including himself. There's
his daughter.
There is his producer.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah.
That's Zach Galifianakis. And his ex-wife, and there's different characters.
And Lindsay Duncan.
Who plays an evil movie or Broadway
Theater critic. Yeah.
And so throughout the movie, they're trying to put different things happen. Like one of the guys in the play, when they're rehearsing, I think it's dress rehearsal, a light falls on his head and kills him. Does it kill him or does it just...
It injures him.
And
so they didn't like his performance, so they replace him with Edward Norton. Yeah.
And so then Edward Norton comes in and is a whole
lot of
piece
business.
of work, a whole lot of business, and starts hooking up with Michael Keaton's character's daughter, and which is Emma Stone, and so he finds out that Lindsay Duncan is going to give him a horrible review, which is going to kill his play, without even having watched it. And do you remember what her motivation was for that?
Because she's like, he's a movie actor, and he is written and directed this play, and she's like, there are real artists out here who can do what you're doing better, and you're taking space from them.
That's right.
The way she's like, she says, it's like, I'm going to give you a better view because this is what you're doing, and this is why I think you're wrong. It is.
It made me hate that actress.
Oh, it made me love her.
Well, that's because you like that kind of thing. It made me hate her because I was rooting for Michael Keaton's character.
But I thought it made... I understood why she was doing what she was doing. It's like, this isn't personal.
Yeah.
This is like... But you are taking space...
and if I didn't like Michael Keaton... I mean, part of it is I love Michael Keaton, the actor.
Yeah, I do too.
So if it was some guy that I didn't like, or if it was maybe Edward Norton playing that character, which I do love Edward Norton, but
it's Lindsay Duncan.
I know, it's Lindsay Duncan. So anyway, she says that she's going to give him a horrible review, and so that kind of feeds into his depression and his internal Birdman monologue, and he brings a real gun. There's a scene where the main character kills himself with a gun, right? And so he brings a real gun and really shoots himself on stage after having... Is it the same production where he has to walk through Times Square in his underwear? Or is that a different
one?
Okay, whatever. That part doesn't matter. But ultimately, he shoots himself, and rather than killing himself, he shoots his nose off.
Yeah.
And so people go crazy for the play, and Lindsay Duncan's character writes an amazing review of it because she's like, this is a new thing in theater, and he truly was dedicated to his art, and the ultimate sacrifice and all of that. And then I'll just get to the end of the movie, and of course this is a movie review podcast, spoilers,
right?
But he's in the hospital and recovering from getting a new nose and all that, and he goes to the window. Or no, he goes to the roof. Does he go to the roof or go to the window? He goes to the window, and we assume, it's implied that he jumps out.
Yeah.
And his daughter comes in and realizes he's gone and goes to the window and looks up and sees him flying.
Yeah.
And so that's where the movie ends.
Yeah.
So I read a lot on like Reddit and different websites like that about what did the movie end? What did the movie ending mean? Because it's open for interpretation.
Right.
And so I want us to talk about how we each interpret it. I'll start with my interpretation, and then I'll talk a little, and then you can tell yours, and then I'll talk a little bit about what people on Reddit said. But my interpretation is that, and my interpretation is that he did kill himself, that he did jump, and she looked down and saw his body, but she's in recovery from drug addiction and alcoholism, I believe, and she I think she just kind of cracked after all she'd been through with her dad and everything she'd been through in her life. I think she just kind of cracked and couldn't handle it, and
chose to look up.
Chose to look up and chose to envision him being free from all of his depression and all the heaviness in his life. That was how I just assumed what it was. But what was your interpretation?
So, I mean, the thing is he had flying scenes before, right? So he kept having these parts in the movie where he'd like lose time and be flying around Manhattan and stuff like that. And I think this movie reminded me a lot of Black Swan, where it's about art and creating art and the process, the sort of like intense work that it comes to be a successful artist. And so the last thing Black Swan is she's, got the glass in her thing, and she's like, and she was like, I was perfect. And that's kind of her triumph. I think what it was to me is, and again, it's a weird movie, and it's fantastic. I loved it a lot. I think it is showing that what I think happened. I think you're right. I think he jumps.
Okay.
But I think he jumps because he realizes that he's hit peak, and it's never he achieved what he wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's never going to. And he was also extremely messed up. So like the fact that he jumped out the window isn't like a surprising thing for this character.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is that he was in the hospital, he had shot himself, and he kind of realized, I have done what I wanted to do. And
because he'd become so famous at that point because of two things.
Right.
One, he had locked himself out of the theater.
Right.
And shut his dressing robe in the door and had to go get back in the theater by walking through Times Square in his underwear, in his tighty-whities. And so that footage of that went viral, and then his daughter set up a Twitter account for him, and he had bajillions of followers, coupled with this amazing review that had been written by Lindsay Duncan's character, and his play was going to be a huge success.
Right.
And
and I think he jumps, dies, but him flying is a representation of having achieved what he wanted to achieve.
That's what a lot of people on Reddit talked about, but they didn't take it to mean that he had died. They took it to mean that it was just a metaphorical representation of what you just said, but he didn't have to die to get there.
Yeah.
He didn't have to kill himself to get there. It was more, he saw his future as having been able to rise above or whatever. Right. So, anyway, we both really liked it. The director was Alejandro Iñárritu, who, before this, he had done, the movie he had done before this was a movie called Beautiful. I don't know if that's a Spanish. Is that a word in Spanish, or is that just a little alliteration? Or
it's I believe it's like kind of like when you take a word in English and you sort of put it in
I couldn't think of what that term for that was, but it was with Javier Bardem, and it was in 2010.
Right.
And then prior to that, he had directed Babel or Babel, depending on people pronounce it different ways, with Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett in 2006. After this, he did The Revenant, which was the Leonardo DiCaprio movie about the fur trader who got attacked by the bear and left for dead. So, and a lot of people really like his movies. He hasn't made a lot.
Yeah, but when he does,
he's very successful.
And he's one of there's 3 directors, him, Alfonso Cuarón, I'm not getting the names right, and then the guy who does Benicio del Toro, and they're all, I think Benicio del Toro's, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm sorry, but they're all Spanish language directors, and they all sort of came to prominence at the same time, and they're called, they call themselves the Three Amigos or something like that, and I like all of their work. Yeah. So, anyway.
So the budget for this movie was about, one figure I saw was $18 million, another figure I saw was $16.5 million, and it made $103 million worldwide. I thought you were going to say something. Other nominees for Best Picture that year were American Sniper, which I never saw, Boyhood, which I don't remember anything about.
That's the one where it's Robert Linkletter or Richard Linkletter, and they shot it over 20 years with the same actors.
That's right.
It's supposed to be really good.
The Grand Budapest Hotel, which we saw,
Yep.
and I'm like, okay, I don't get, what's that guy's name, that director's name?
Oh, W.T. Anderson.
Or Wes Anderson?
Wes Anderson.
Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I don't get the, like,
He's not.
I'm not blown away by that shtick
Right.
of his movie. Some people are. What did that? I can't even read my own. The Imitation Game, which I don't remember what that was
That's
about.
That's what's his face? Benedict Cumberbatch playing the guy who was England and he did the coding.
Oh,
Turing. Yeah, Turing.
Okay. Selma.
It's about Selma.
Which is about Selma, Alabama. The Theory of Everything.
Which I don't know.
And Whiplash.
Okay.
Which I don't remember.
Whiplash is the one about the drummer.
Okay.
With J.D. Vance. Not J.D. Vance.
Oh, wow.
J.K. Simmons.
Okay.
Different
Different double letter
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so some of the fun trivia from the movie is that I think I mentioned there's only 16 visible cuts in the whole movie. A funny thing that I read was in the trailer for the movie, there were 37 visible cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a trailer.
Right.
But that was kind of funny. The other thing I read was that Mike, the character Mike that was played by Edward Norton, was Alejandro, the director's satirical take on Edward Norton.
Yep.
Which I did not realize that till I read this, and how he's notoriously difficult to work with
Yep.
and critical.
And he's very methody.
Yeah, very methody,
Yeah.
so that was kind of funny.
And he was... Edward Norton, I can't believe he didn't get... Did he get nominated?
I don't remember.
He was really, really good.
He was very good. There was a lot of stuff about the difficulty of the long shots, and so there was like an example that Emma Stone gave in an interview was that like they had to not only memorize and do pages and pages, like 50
Right.
pages of dialogue, but they also had to get all the choreographed moves
Right.
perfectly during all that. And she said that like there was a 6 minutes they had filmed of this one shot, and she messed it all up at like the 6 minute mark because she came around a corner too soon.
Gotcha.
And it was just that one
Yeah.
move they had to start all over again. So, what else did I find? Oh, there was the theater in which they filmed the movie and the play was being rehearsed in was the St. James Theater. And there was not all this, but there were several references to what a crappy theater it was. And in reality, according to what I read, it's like that was an inside joke because it's one of the best theaters on Broadway.
Right.
So it was kind of like a joke that it was like,
Well,
oh,
and
this
didn't
crummy
they
theater.
build... So of course, like we watch these movies and then we immediately go on the internet to read about them. And they filmed in the theater, but they also built a set in Queens
for the backstage.
so they could do the shots and stuff like that, because it would have been impossible to do that much stuff in the theater, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Edward Norton was also in the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay.
That was nominated that year. And then, wait a second. I know I wrote... Oh, the carpet that was in the backstage. I don't remember this when I watched it, but the carpet that's in the backstage hallways of the theater is the exact same carpet from the hallways in The Shining. In the hotel of The Shining.
That's amazing.
And then personal history with the film. I saw that it came out, and I saw that it was Michael Keaton, and I love Michael Keaton, but I never watched it until we did this.
Yeah. I think, same thing. I remember it came out and got really good reviews. My only real personal history is, he's trying to adapt this short story by Raymond Carver, what we talk about when we talk about love. That is one of my favorite short stories ever. And I've always thought I'd make a really good play.
Oh, yeah.
So.
I remember that. I remember there being something you had said about the play, or the short story, and I couldn't remember what you said.
It's really, it's like it's like probably one of my favorites. It's really good.
And the last question we had in our list of questions was, did it deserve the award? And obviously, I think we both think that it did.
Yeah, it was a really good film.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see Selma.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot of the stuff, but in terms of like movies, I think
I have seen The Imitation Game on a plane, and it was really good.
Yeah.
But I just think as far as like cutting edge is not the right word, but like as far as new, being something new or being something unique or being something, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like in that.
Well, I feel like with this movie is like from the minute it started, I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like,
or what was going on in
what was
some
going
cases.
on, yeah. And it was I don't know, I feel like the performances were outstanding, and it was a really different, fun movie. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because Emma Stone was the daughter. I forget what the actress's name who played the ex-wife. Yeah. Anyway, so
Naomi Watts is also in it.
Naomi
she was
Watts,
really good at it
too. So that was the Birdman.
Great.
All right, tell us about
The Legend of Hercules.
The Legend of Hercules, and this will be fun because I have no memory of having watched this.
So I think there are some movies that stick with you. This is like we watched it and we were like brown out drunk, or our RAM wasn't working.
Were we brown out drunk?
No, we weren't.
Oh,
we were not.
Because that'll happen.
Yeah, I know. And like literally, I was reading the synopsis and I'm like, I remember very little of this film. So, it'll be fun to talk about what we remember.
And what we always say is, not just when we're doing movie reviews, is it's more fun to watch a hilarious... I mean, this is true. I mean, everybody knows this. Yeah. But it's more fun to watch a hilariously bad movie than just a bland bad movie that like...
Or even a bland good movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true.
You know. So, this is The Legend of Hercules. It was released in January 2014, which is always, when things are released in January, you know it's going to be a good movie.
Why do you say that?
Because January, February is where like studios bury terrible movies.
Okay, because it's so
post-Oscars.
Post-Oscars, okay.
And
it's not the summer blockbusters,
right.
And it's not Christmas.
And there was another Hercules movie that came out in the summer, also just called Hercules, starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. And so they're trying to get some space between those. Yeah. So the stars Kellen Lutz, who you may know as he was one of the Cullens in Twilight.
That's right. He was
he's like the older brother,
the muscly one.
Yeah.
Which explains why he played Hercules. Yeah, gosh, I can't remember.
Yeah,
which Cullen he played, but go ahead.
Not Edward.
So
in terms of Razzies, it was nominated for Worst Picture, nominated for Worst Prequel, Remake, Sequel, Worst Actor, Worst Actress, Gaia Weiss, who was, I assume, in the movie, Worst Director, Rennie Harlan, and Worst Screen Combo, Kellen Lutz, and either his abs, pecs, or his glutes.
I would disagree.
I would disagree with that. I think that's the
that's the only fun part of the movie is his abs and pecs and glutes.
So I think the best thing, the best summary of this movie, A.O. Scott said about the film delivers what it promises, which is muscular guys in skimpy clothing fighting and howling, as well as some large-scale, digitally enhanced battle sequences. And I'll be honest, that is exactly what I thought I was going to get coming into this, and it's exactly what I got.
Yes.
Do I remember how things got from point A to point B? Was it a faithful retelling of the Hercules legend? No. I mean, there were elements, but I'm like... So at one point, the girl is... Hebe, H-E-B-E, who in Greek mythology is his half-sister, because they're both children of Zeus. Anyway, let's see. Brief plot. I put Hercules, question mark. I don't know what happened. I know he had, like, a brother he was like the son of a god, and... The husband was mad about that, and he had a row with his brother, and at some point he and his friends become gladiators. He kills a lion. I don't even know. There are some battle scenes. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about this movie.
Sorry, I'm distracted because I think I put my stitch markers where I do the decreases on the wrong spot on my yarns, on my socks. So I'm going to stop there because I will mess it up if I continue.
So,
sorry,
yeah,
Gary is ready to listen.
Okay,
Gary Glitz.
So the director, Rennie Harlin, he's done a couple things before. He did Die Hard 2. And he is, I think he was a producer-director, and he is responsible for, or is indirectly credited for Orion Studios going out of business. Because he did 2 movies with Gina Davis, The Long Kiss Goodnight and Cutthroat Island, which are both horribly expensive and made no money. Although Cutthroat Island, I think that won the, I'm pretty sure it won the Golden Raspberry if it's here. That's a fun movie. I watched it and it's a fun movie. It's basically Gina Davis running around as Morgan the Pirate Queen.
Oh,
it's
interesting.
I mean, it's not a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
But it's fun. It's a fun watch.
And he's done a couple. He did like Cliffhanger, and he's just sort of he's kind of a good action.
Is
director.
Cliffhanger the one with Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah.
Oh my god! So I saw that when I was, I think, a teenager, and oh my god, there were some of the scenes in that movie were so terrifying to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I think it's known as kind of a bad movie, right?
It's known as a fun movie.
Action-y,
movie.
Whatever, suspense or whatever.
Who else was in it? Kellen Lutz. I did not recognize anyone in the movie. It was so it was a $70 million budget, and it made $61.3 million worldwide.
Okay.
So lost money. Let's see. Interesting trivia. So it was shot in 3D, and Rennie Harlin required all the male actors to shave their legs and torsos because he didn't like the way body hair looked in 3D.
Oh wow!
It apparently was it was like weird and like pokey outy and stuff like that.
Gosh.
And so Kellen Lutz, because he was basically wearing no clothes in the movie, which I think is a selling point.
Yeah.
He basically was exercising the whole time, so whenever they shot him, he just looked super pumped.
Okay.
And,
so he'd like get down and do a bunch of push-ups.
Yeah, and he wasn't wearing a costume, so he could just do it, right?
Yeah.
And he said he ended up doing about 1,000 push-ups and ab crunches every day on set for the duration of the shoot.
God.
And it shows. Let's see, what else? I mean, honestly, I feel like that's about it. We watched it. It was fine.
Yeah. I don't remember. I still.
Yeah, no.
I remember him being in it, but I don't remember any. I don't remember the woman.
There's a scene where he went swimming with her.
I don't remember that.
I do, but not because it was integral to the plot, because they went swimming together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look.
So do you remember? Was there a story arc? Like, was there like a conflict that had to be resolved?
Yeah, it was about his father hated him because he was the son of Zeus.
Oh, that's right.
And he had the other brother, and so there's a scene where
wasn't the queen somehow?
Yeah, the queen had sex. Didn't like. So it was like an arranged marriage. The queen didn't love the husband,
right. And she'd had sex with Zeus,
and little Hercules was born. And then she had another son she had an elder son with the husband, and there's all the sibling rivalry. At one point, Hercules kills the lion, and the older brother takes the credit for killing the lion.
That's right.
He gets exiled for some reason, and then he comes back and takes over the kingdom, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look. I like Greek mythology. I would say this made Clash of the Titans look like it stuck right with it.
Clash of the Titans is an amazing film.
It is an amazing film.
The old one.
The old one.
I don't know about the
No, but I remember watching. So here's me.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans comes out, and I'm 7.
Okay.
And I'm I didn't really follow the actual Greek myth so much. So.
Oh, imagine that. Nerdy little so maybe that's where your nerdy condescension started.
Oh, I don't think it started there.
Clash of the Titans with Harry Hamlin.
Right, exactly. I'm like, Boobo the Owl. No, it was just
Boobo the Owl.
Oh, it's a good movie.
You're talking about Clash.
Speaking of Clash of the Titans, you know, so that was my first time seeing Maggie Smith in a movie because she plays Hera, and she just died. So
I forgot she played Hera in that.
Yeah.
I was just terrified of Medusa. Like,
yeah, no, Medusa was super scary.
Yeah, and then I go back and watch it now, and I'm like, I was scared of that.
It's obviously like you can see the clay moving. So anyway, that's what I have to say about Hercules, the Legend of Hercules. Now I'm sad. We could have done a compare and contrast with the Dwayne Rock Johnson one.
Oh yeah,
but I don't think we have to do that.
I don't think we have to do that.
Can you compare things you don't remember?
No.
Okay.
Well, you can, but I don't think it'll be very effective.
Right.
All right, so it is now time to draw for next time.
Yay!
And figure out what year we're doing. I'm going to do something a little different this time, and I'm going to read a summary of the plot, and you have to tell me what movie we're watching.
Okay.
So, this is the best picture.
Okay.
The film covers 30 years of the relationship between Aurora Greenway and her daughter, Emma Greenway Horton. I'm going to read a little bit more.
Yeah.
Aurora Greenway, a widow, keeps several suitors at arm's length in River Oaks, Houston.
Oh, it's Terms of Endearment.
Yes. What year is it then?
It's probably 84 or 85.
Ceremony 84, year 83.
Okay.
The movies were released in 83.
Oh god, that movie is so good.
So yeah, I've never seen it. We're watching it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. The worst movie. The plot follows an aspiring screenwriter who deals with many abusive men in her attempts to achieve success in Hollywood. This movie was the last adaptation of one of Robin's novels before his death in 1997. The film stars Pia Zadora in the title role.
Is it Butterfly?
No, that's not the name of the movie. The film stars Pia Zadora in the title role. The original... it's not going to help.
I know... It's like Men On or something like that? Or what's it?
Directed by Peter Sasty. Adapted from Harold Robbins' 1976 novel of the same name, believed to have been based on Robbins' memories of Jacqueline Suzanne. It's called The Lonely Lady.
Awesome. I don't know if we can get that, but...
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
We'll try. Other worst movie nominees that year were... Hercules.
Okay.
Again, this was Lou Ferrigno.
Okay.
Jaws 3D. Stroker Ace.
Okay.
Which is Burt Reynolds as Stroker Ace, a NASCAR driver. And Two of a Kind. With
Two of a Kind is John Travolta and it has Twist of Fate in it, and it is not a good movie. Like, it's okay. I remember when Twist of Fate came out, and like, so it was like, you know, Grease had come out, and I was...
Twist of Fate. Wait, what now?
Yeah, Twist of Fate.
No, it's Two of a Kind.
Two of a Kind, sorry. But the song is Twist of Fate.
Okay.
It's gonna be a dun-dun. Anyways, she has a song that goes with it.
Okay.
And I remember, like, wanting to see it so badly. And I remember my sister went to go see it. And she told me, I was like, she thought it wasn't good.
Oh, no.
And then a couple of years ago...
You were crushed.
I wasn't crushed, but I was like, oh, that's too bad. And then I remember a couple of years ago, I think like you were off somewhere. I'm like, I'm gonna watch Twist of Fate, and I got like 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, this is terrible.
So that's what we're watching.
Okay, The Lonely Lady and Terms of Endearment.
Yes.
Oh, those are very different movies.
Yeah. So
Terms of Endearment, like, it's really good.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We hope to be back in 2 weeks, and we'll try to stick to that.
Awesome.
All right. Bye.